Hi, this is Kevin Neal from Upscale Audio, and today we are going to talk about the brand new Klipsch La Scala AL6. Oh my God, hallelujah, brother, it's a happy day. This is not a small change. This is a major rework. And Roy Delgado and the team at Klipsch did everything right. And then, by the way, Roy Delgado from Klipsch, the head engineer and the self-described Chief Bonehead, is going to be here at our store this July to meet you and to talk to you about the new Klipsch horn, the new La Scala, and maybe a couple of other surprises. And this is an invitation-only event with limited space, and it's reserved for Upscale Audio customers or people that get our newsletter. So make sure that you sign up for it, because we have all kinds of cool stuff with industry bigwigs that come here, and we don't want you to miss it. And if you're considering buying a pair of Klipsch loudspeakers, we hope that you consider Upscale Audio, because we do everything that we can to make sure that things are so perfect for you. My non-commissioned sales engineers are just rock stars, right? Okay, I'm going to talk about the changes to the AL6 and what they really mean to you in listening. I'm going to explain to you the real reason to use the external crossover and how to start out, and the problem that nobody ever talks about when it comes to high efficiency stuff, and how do you squeeze every bit of performance from these amazing loudspeakers that I love so much. Now, look at this new color. What do you guys think of this? Put something in the comment. This is auburn. It replaces cherry. Now, walnut remains, as well as black ash, or is it black oak? Now I have to space out. Anyway, black finish. Now, and we stock everything. And we stock them with this traditional grill that you see here, or the beautiful lamb's wool, and you can kind of take your peek. So we want to make sure that everything is perfect, because I know that how it goes, especially when you're hitting that wife acceptance factor. You got to make sure it's perfect, right? Oh, in fact, I'm going to leave this off now, because I want to talk to you about the high frequency driver. This is the same K771 driver that's used in the Klipsch horn. Now, it's the same as the previous model, except they put in an extended phase plug. And that's really important, because it helps to prevent cancellations and equalize wavelengths. And what you're trying to do is create a sound that is more cohesive, number one. Number two, you want to have a cleaner dispersion, so that you don't have to put your head in a vise. More people in the room get better sound and a better presentation. But the big deal is, though, the time alignment between this and the mid-range driver. And that's like, because your brain has a real tough time reconciling that. You don't even know it's happening. You just know that it bugs you. Kind of like when your sister is yammering at you and bitching and complaining. It's like something's going on, but I don't know what it is, right? So the crossover point, the crossover point between the tweeter and the mid-range has been changed from 4,500 hertz to 2,900 hertz. I like that. I think that was a really, really good idea. The mid-range driver, though, that is a complete game changer. This is the K1133 HP compression driver, and it rocks my world. It's the same one that's used in the new K horn. It is larger. It has the built-in mumps. It has the big deal with this is you have better time alignment with the high frequency driver, but you have much greater dispersion. But the big deal with this is really the meat on the bones in the mid-range. They really, really knock that out of the ballpark. Boom. Now the bass. Hell yeah. Now, fact is, La Scalas have never been bass monsters. You know, so many times people come in the store, this speaker gets so many compliments. It gets so many people, oh man, look at that. And sometimes a young guy comes in with his baseball cap on backwards. He goes, oh, I bet that's got bump and bass. And it's not really. The older model was just light on its feet, very, very fast, very fantastic, but not heavy in bass. And, you know, several customers of ours have actually added subwoofers. Every system can benefit from a subwoofer. I'm going to tell you that right now. Even my great big $200,000 speakers, I'm putting stacked subs in my room because it makes the room better. It makes everything better. But this is not a super bass heavy speaker, but the new ones, it's a real big deal. So what did they do to make it so much mo better? Well, they went from a 15-inch driver to a 12-inch driver. What? How does that happen? Well, they came up with a new patented, vented cabinet with the folded horn. And this speaker, it goes down another 10 hertz. This speaker has more bottom end than any La Scala that has gone before it. I just frickin' love it. One of the wonderful things about high-efficiency speakers like Klipsch is that music can breathe at low listening levels. Many low-efficiency speakers have a tendency to sound flat when they're turned down. You know, just kind of dull and one-dimensional, and then you have to turn them up and turn them up to get them to breathe. And then before you know it, the music is too loud and your spouse is yelling at you. I mean, I think anybody here can relate to having that happen, right? The music's too loud. But these speakers will still breathe when they're turned down, and that's because they are so dynamic because of their high efficiency. But I'm going to say something to you, that if you want to get every bit out of that characteristic and that beauty, you can do that by using a force multiplier. And what do I mean by that? Being careful with the amplifier that you choose. And I'm going to cover that in a separate video completely, because it is too important. It's too important. So let's segue to the biggest change that Klipsch made with this new La Scala. If you look at the back of this fantastic 205-pound speaker, you'll see that you have the ability to hook them up, the regular panel, just like you do, just like we've always done. But you also have the ability to not use that and use a purpose-built electronic crossover. So what you're going to do is you're going to hook your preamplifier or your streamer into the electronic crossover, and then the crossover is going to hook up to 3 power amps, one for the bass, one for the mid-range, and one for the high frequencies. And there's 2 big benefits to doing that. One is that you are using DSP, and by using DSP, they were able to make improvements to something that is called time and phase coherence. Remember I talked about that before, the alignment of the mid-range to the high-frequency driver? That's just important, you guys. It is important, because when it's wrong, it is wrong, and your brain picks it up. The other benefit that you get is a flatter response, and I'm going to show you a graph if you want. But then I want you to forget the graph, because I want you to get real for a minute. Cyndi Lauper sang this song that said, "Girls just want to have fun." And that is absolutely true, but the fact is a lot of people want to have fun. And to them, that may mean having a little bit more bump on the bottom or a little bit more or less sparkle up on the top. You know, and you get that, right? But with the crossover, the mid-range is going to stay at a fixed level, and then you are able to increase or decrease the top and the bottom end to your own personal taste. And this is really important if you don't play music loud. The male human ear especially is meant to listen for predators. Like your sister that was yelling at you. And it does not pick, I shouldn't be saying that stuff because I'm going to get in trouble. It does not pick up highs and low frequencies as much. You are very, very sensitive to mid-range. Females don't have that. They have much, much better top-end response. But for men, you know, back in the old days, we used to have something that was called a loudness contour control, and at lower levels it bumped up the bass and it bumped up the highs. We don't have those anymore, but now you're going to have it on that crossover. And that brings us to amplification and the big mistakes that people make when they buy high efficiency speakers. And I'm going to do a follow-up on that. And in fact, I'm going to read you a letter from a dude that works at Disney. Can I say that name? That he had inherited a pair of K-horns, and every store said, oh, dude, you need 100 watts. And he bought the wrong amplifier, and I'm going to let you read it, and then maybe you're going to be able to avoid what this dude did, okay? That's it. So finally, I want to say something about the company. People like to buy made in the USA, even if that particular company maybe fibs about where its products are really made. And that happens sometimes in electronics. They just, made in the USA means, oh, we put it in the cardboard box here, right? Or maybe it means they make a crappy product, or maybe they even have crappier service. But the people at Klipsch are absolutely real. They are cooler than hell. They are a joy to deal with, especially for our customers. They seem to go out of their way for anything that we ask for. I cannot believe what they do. And what I really like, though, is that they hold on to their heritage and they remember where they come from. And I think that is so, so important. And I think it comes through with this speaker. I mean, it is just, La Scalas are so popular and they're so great and people are always so happy. But I mean, this is another level altogether. You know, we try to do the same thing here at Upscale Audio, right? And I can only hope to achieve that we do have 10% of the groove that these guys at Klipsch have. You know, we try to have an ever-enlarging circle of friends. We've been open now for over 25 years. We don't work on commission, and I mean, that's why I always end it. I always say it this way. At Upscale Audio, we're going to treat your system like it's ours. Thank you.